Welcome back to another episode. Chuck is back. Chuck goes to Chuck E. Cheese. That was it. I was trying to think of a new way to come at you because everyone's
Oh,
like,
don't
Chuck
associate
Norris.
me with that dirty rat.
Chucky without the cheese.
Okay, that works.
First of all, it was an amazing place for kids,
It was at one time.
but they did waste a lot of your parents' money.
As a good children's casino would.
Yes. Okay. First of all, you went on a cruise trip or something of that.
Yeah, I just got back.
How was that? You're
Oh my
alive, so it
God.
must have been great.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. A different experience. Like I've been on cruises many times in my life, and this was a different one. This is the first one since COVID, and I think the only thing I didn't like about it was the fact that the kids had to go through so much, jump through so many hoops just to be able to go on the cruise. I mean, not only did they have to get, I'm going to turn my phone back this way. It's a lot easier to hold. I'm going to, they had to jump through a whole bunch of hoops. They not only had to get a negative COVID test up to 3 days before the cruise left. They had to get a COVID test the same day that we got onto the boat. And that was probably the worst part of the whole thing, is because my youngest son, his test came back invalid the first time. So then we had to wait for a whole another hour for them to run another test. We were one of the last people to go on the boat. It was kind of nerve-wracking because if it came back positive or even another invalid, there's a very good chance they wouldn't have let us onto the boat.
No, you just leave your kid.
Yeah, I would just leave the kid. Here's some money. Good luck.
We've wasted all a whole entire couple of years saving up for this timeshare in Tahiti. We're going.
Yeah, no, but once we were on board, it was a lot of fun. Very relaxing. Nice to be back out onto the water again.
I literally pale in comparison to you. My skin is just pale in comparison.
I've spent a lot of time in the sun the last week. It was nice.
So where did you go?
Our first stop was San Juan. Never been there before, so I was really excited. So got to go there. My father-in-law and I did a rum tasting tour. A lot of fun. Although, strangely enough, the guy who was leading the tour could not make a mojito to save his life. I had to show him how to make a mojito. It was awful, the first one he made. But then after that we went to, what was our second stop? Second stop was St. Martin. And then our third stop was St. Kitts. And I'd never been to St. Kitts either. So got off there. We did this little train around the island thing. It was a lot of fun.
Huh. And this was just something you've been planning for a couple of years?
This was actually supposed to be our vacation last year. That got canceled because of COVID. So it got pushed into this year.
So like BC was before Christ. Is that before COVID now?
Yeah. This was planned BC.
Is there you saving up for another vacation, or is that just it for a while?
No, we got another one planned in April. We're going to take the kids down to Disney in April.
Don't.
We took them this time too, but we're going to do a couple days at Disney, and then we're doing an actual Disney cruise in April during their spring break.
Look, man, I had that conspiracy that Disney might be slowly controlling the world. I don't know if you've heard that before from me, but like 1984. You type that in, you used to get George Orwell, then you get Wonder Woman. It's my buddy Brandon's conspiracy. Well, the other day was JFK's day of his assassination. Then also it was Toy Story. And I'm like, all right, this fucking conspiracy is foolproof, man. Like, it's getting there, dude.
Disney's taking over everything.
There are some things where I'm like, I don't know. I just haven't seen anything different movie-wise. And it seems like that would be the easiest way to slowly manipulate the world would be by just a Disney corporation coming in and Pixaring everything. Like, imagine if someone got shot, you didn't see blood, you just saw confetti.
Oh my God. Kind of interesting though. It'd make shooting videos a lot more interesting to watch.
It would make birthday parties intense.
Oh, was he shot, or is that celebration confetti? Who knows?
Happy birthday. Fucking dad's passed out against the wall. And you changed the show up too. Now it's you and your brother reviewing movies.
Yeah. So right towards the end of the second season, I was kind of looking to shake things up a little bit, kind of renew the energy on the show. And I was also looking for somebody to help share the load, because I was doing everything all by me. You know what that's like, doing everything all by yourself. And with my promotion at work that I got and stuff like that, it was just getting harder for me to find the time and energy to do it all. And I didn't want to stop doing the show. So my brother offered to come in full time to help out as a co-host and stuff like that. So he's helping out with a lot of things, and he's picking up a lot more of the load and everything. So yeah, it's been nice to have him on there. It's been a fun dynamic to have him come in, and he's kind of making his own way with it and everything. It's not just he's no longer just a guest that comes in every once in a while. He's trying to make it his own as well. So it's a lot of fun.
I think you took my kind of journey for a brief amount of time and went a little bit farther with it than I did, I guess. I took the social media break, I think, for like a couple of days, and then you kind of took it. I think I don't know what happened, but you took it and then you ran with it for a lot long. I think you're still doing it as well too. Like you're just not on social media as much as possible. I'm the same way with posting and ghosting, but I think we started getting a very distorted perspective of what the world really was because everything you're seeing on the news or on your phone happens to be like a murder or a robbery, or you see a homeless person get a sandwich and then he bites into the sandwich and he's like, "Thank you so much. God bless." And then he gets shot in the head and you're like, "Fuck, wrong videos." But then you go out
Like,
into you go out into the world and the world's a little bit better than what you kind of initially thought. Because I think you just get so wrapped up into things sometimes. And I think you start to, I mean, the release you get, dude, it's like a vacation when you don't feel the reliance of like me, like when Instagram and Facebook went down, I still posted my episode and it still got the same amount of views without me sharing a post for it because you couldn't. And I was like, that's what I kind of am hoping to get is the fact of like just not feeling like I need to do this or need to do that. You notice in the world, there's a lot of people saying that they need something rather than is it necessarily a need or is it just a delicacy that you've let take too much control of your life?
Uh, well, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yes, I took a huge break, and you're right. To an extent, I am still taking I backed off a lot on social media, especially my personal ones. I'm probably a little bit more active on Facebook than I have been in a while lately. But as far as like my personal Instagram, I can't even remember the last time I posted something on there. And as far as like the Instagram for the show, the only time I post on there is usually just as I do my posts and I go, and I try to interact as much as I possibly can, but it started to feel like so much of a chore. Like I felt like I was letting people down if I didn't respond. I was doing the wrong thing if I didn't like every single post that showed up on my feed and things like that. And the pressure from all of it was starting to get to me. So I finally decided to back off. I like when I scroll through when I can. I like when I can. I interact when I can. I post my social media promotionals for the show and stuff like that, and I hope for the best, but like you said, I could post something on Instagram about an episode and I probably won't see a tremendous difference in download numbers or numbers as far as people who listen to the show and stuff like that. And so I don't feel that pressure to post and be as active on social media. And unfortunately, social media is a great tool, but like you said, we're inundated with so much stuff on social media. It's not just stuff for the show; it's all the other things, all the unfortunate news that's happening out there. There's a lot of not just political things, things that are happening in courthouses right now. We just had the Kyle Rittenhouse case. There's another case where closing arguments are happening right now that I've kind of
Ghislaine
been following.
Maxwell's the one I'm hoping for, bruh.
Okay, so I was just about to bring that up. We've had so much media coverage on some of these other high profile cases, yet hardly a word on the fact that her case actually starts officially today, I believe.
I thought it was the 29th.
You could be right. I
I
can't
hope I
remember.
don't. I'll end this podcast right now if it's right
Yeah.
fucking now, dude. You don't understand. I'm so hooked. I watched that documentary, and let me tell you, it was like people were shoving baby dick in my fucking ears.
Oh my God.
I couldn't handle it. I was like, there's so much sex trafficking, which is like weird because now we see advertisements for more sex trafficking than ever. And I'm like, I know it's always been a problem, but like Gabby Petito kind of led the charge in that aspect. Is like, why is everyone
Yeah.
caring about this person, even though there's an amount of so many people that this happens to, and we're just focusing on this one person because she checks all the boxes. Where I'm like, yeah, like if I went to another country, I would be kidnapped and sold into a sex thing. I have a very
Well,
kidnappable face, Chuck.
you have that face. You have that face that people are
It's
like,
called innocence.
I I want that. I want that innocent face. And then you'll talk, and then they'll realize you're not as innocent as you look,
I
and then
got
they'll
that
probably send you back.
the limp fist where I go and punch him and it's limp. What was that? That was my punch.
But no, just taking it back to social media, I feel like it controls so much of our lives. It really does. We spend so much time on it, whether it's personal or professional, and it, for somebody who suffers from mental health, you understand this as well as I do. That's not a great thing to let it control so much of my life. And there are so many other things that I could be focusing on, such as my job, or not even just the podcast, my family. You know, my kids are growing up before my eyes. It's hard to believe that they're 4 and 7 right now, 5 and 7. I'm trying to make them older than they are. It's like, when did that happen?
If you rewind this podcast back, I asked you, I didn't know you had 2 kids, and you said I only have the one. I'm pretty sure, like on the second episode, you were on this show. So you do have 2 kids. So I'm not going schizophrenic. You have 2 children.
No, I have 2 kids. And if I said I had the one, then my God, I must have been like high that day.
I was like, wait, this kid went from 7 to 4 so quick. I was like, oh my God, what's happening?
Yeah, no, I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. I have 2.
Okay, perfect. Glad we got that disclosed. So I'm not going full.
Yeah,
crazy.
you're crazy, but you're not that crazy. So yeah, you're not going to see me as active on there. And I, without really calling out names and stuff like that too, there are certain people out there on social media who made me feel even worse when I wasn't active on there. And it just finally got to the point where it's like, I don't need this negativity in my life. So I'm on there when I'm on there. I do what I do, and then I get off.
I'm only smiling because I think I know who you're talking about. But at the same time, I might be one of those people.
No, you are not one of those people. Trust me. But if they were to ever listen to this episode, they'd know exactly who they are. But
yeah. I think it's important because I think you start realizing, like, is the friends that you have really your friends? Are they social friends or social media friends? And that's become, like, for me, I don't care if you like a post or not, and don't expect me to like every single post. Just know that if you message me, I'm going to answer you. But I also think that's a value that's very, very hard. Like you were saying, it's hard to not respond to people. It's hard to that type of stuff. It's because it's kind of like when they always told you, make sure you answer your phone in case it's an emergency. And even though you always just answer it just in case, that's like with a message. You don't want to seem rude. You always got to respond back. Dude, I get it. Time zones, especially with people within Australia, where I get a message at 1 o'clock in the morning. I got to respond. I can't wait till the morning. I got to respond to make sure that whole type of thing. It's hard because for a while I was getting like really pissed off at like the government stuff and all that. But dude, I actually like look at it and like I think I've broken the insanity limit where I've just kind of like laugh at it now, and it's fun. But I think you got to start understanding is like, you can't just ruin your own happiness and ruin your own life. If that means taking a break, then step away from it. It's so hard because that thing is there 24/7. I mean, the past month I've been watching like Hulu on my phone, and my phone's right up to my face, and I'm fucking trying to drive down the street and I can't read street signs anymore. I'm like, fuck, my eyesight's going to shit. And it's like, that's how it starts though, is that you don't really realize like that addicting feature to it. And I think it's just hard because I think now there's a lot less limits on, I guess it kind of leads into like the Black Friday shopping, for instance. Why is everything fucking holiday stuff? Or not holidays, hobby stuff? Like everything's for hobbies. And it's like, yeah, because people had to find another fucking outlet or thing to do. Nobody wants to go out and drink with their friends anymore. I'd rather drink at home. Why? It's easier. It's cheaper. It's less people. I can get drunk and shit myself and no one laughs at me. That's what it is now. But it's because they took that got taken away, and then you found a new way, and then it's hard to go back to the old way when the new way seems easier now. And it's like, I don't necessarily think it's easier. I think it's actually the goalpost just keeps moving. And I think that's with everything. I mean, YouTube's now doing new terms and conditions. So their new thing is now that it's going to be like hard. They're just going to monetize your content, but you're not going to make any money off of it. So if you're not already monetization, they're just going to put ads in your videos without even your permission. It doesn't matter. You're on their platform, which I understand, but you see the goalposts get moved with everything where it's like, it's so hard because if you look at podcasting as a sense of somebody's happiness or someone's form of therapy in a way of having fun, like for you, it could be therapy for getting to sit with your brother and review movies or talk and make content with your brother, a connection thing. They
Hmm.
make it very, very difficult if you start having to worry about instead of producing content or when are we going to chat, our show just got banned, our show just got taken off. And I'm like, I don't think they understand what it's led to now. And I think it's important to keep all these factors in check because you never know when someone could just lose everything all by losing something like that. Like what we deem as valuable in our own lives might be different as valuable in someone else's. And I think it's just cool to have all those perspectives in there as well, too. Like I'm jealous you went on fucking vacation. I'm happy you're alive. I thought when you went on the cruise ship, you were going to die. Nobody makes it back from a cruise ship. Nobody makes it back.
Well, I'm happy to be alive too, and I'm sorry you had to worry about me. Um, but no, it's just I agree with everything you said right there, and I think that the other problem becomes too is like I alluded to earlier, it's this problem of having to please everybody. You know, you think you have to do this, you think you have to do that. It's not just that, but sometimes I feel like, especially as your show goes on, and I'm sure you've probably experienced this yourself, you've met a lot more people than I have, and you've made a lot more contacts and friends and stuff like that. Sometimes what for somebody like me, the more people I meet and the wider my circle gets, the more anxiety I seem to have about maintaining those contacts, those relationships, and things like that. And sometimes I do the bad thing where I do disappear, and because that's just easier for me than keeping up with everybody. And sometimes I feel like that's not fair to the people that I make in those contacts as well, because I've made friends, not just podcasting contacts, not just people I talk podcasting with or things like that. I've made friends along the way, you and things like that. And our friendship has gone through these like little ups and downs through the time that we first met and everything like that. And I'm just going to use you as the prime example because you and I are talking here. We've gone from talking almost every day to not talking every day and stuff like that. And I feel awful about that because it's not that I feel a necessity or a need to keep in contact with you. I want to keep in contact with you. I just find it hard a lot of times when I have you and then I add everybody else to that list of people that I'm trying to maintain those relationships with. And I've got to draw that line somewhere. A lot of these people that I'm trying to maintain relationships with are not actual friendships. They are just acquaintances and contacts that we talk when we have information to share or content to share and stuff like that. And so I really don't have any personal need to stay in contact with them. But in my brain is wired to think that I do. And it's not that I find those contacts any less valuable or anything like that, because they are valuable contacts, but they aren't friendships. And I got to learn to draw that line. You are a friendship. These other people aren't. And so it's drawing that line and determining those situations that is going to help me become not only a better friend, but also just a better person on social media. But social media makes it very hard to define those lines because it does become overwhelming.
Well, you revert back to like the primal way where like if there was no podcasting, there was no social media, we would never know each other. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you don't like that person. It just necessarily means that it's hard because you're spreading yourself too thin on so many aspects.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very hard to stay communicative with person, especially if it's limited to an app where that's the only way, unless we do a Zoom call or we do a phone call or we do something like that. It's just difficult where if you told me your show was over with, and you said it was for your mental health, I'd be happy for you because I understand I value who you are more than I value of if the relationship just ended from there. I value your because I understand the balance of that as well too. I think we've talked a few times about it getting too much sometimes. I've gotten to those
Mm-hmm.
points a couple of times where even at hitting the 1,000 mark, I'm like, that might be it. I also got a film you got to review because I'm making a film. It
Oh,
involves
oh,
David and everybody. Uh,
okay.
I'm not going to talk about it on air because I want to keep it surprise.
And we'll talk about this offline.
But I think you have to understand, and I see it where I see people that just go away, like disappear and just don't come out. Not like China disappear, where you're just fucking gone. But like, I mean, just take a break where they go on like some type of spiritual journey or they go and try and find themselves. It's like, I've just done it through the show where I'm still trying to do it, but I've started to understand more and kind of contemplated everything that I've really learned or really kind of understand now. Man, a lot of people don't care for your happiness. A lot of people just want to use you because they enjoy doing this or enjoy doing that. When put out a message was like, I'm probably done at 1,000. I'm definitely taking a break, but I might come back to it. It's just I enjoy doing it so much. But there are people like, damn, don't lose contact because I like your show, but I also care about you. And it's like, that's a friend. Those are friends that are there. There are people that just want to hear the content sometimes. And I'm like, you have to decide if that's something you want to keep into your life because then eventually you hate it. After a while, it starts to get bland. You got to change it up. It's what I try and do. But I think you're one of those people that recognizes that like when you start to change some things or when you're not doing okay, you can find a way. And if that is isolating yourself from people, just don't be afraid
Mm.
that like even me, Mark, David, any of those people wouldn't be there when you came back because we would.
No, I absolutely agree. And uh, I know you would be there. I know you, Mark, David, all of them would all be there. And I've actually had that thought before. Like how many of these people do I keep these contacts with? That if I were to tell them, or if I were just to decide that I'm done making the show, which by the way, I plan on doing the show till either we run out of movies or I just honestly can't do it anymore because time does not permit. But I found a way to make that work. But if I stopped doing the show, how many of these people would I actually remain in contact with, and how many of these people would be a friend? And that list is a lot smaller than the list of actual people that I talk to on an everyday to weekly basis. So I'm learning to appreciate that list a lot more because um, half of these people half the people I would Mark, David, I wouldn't know those people if it weren't for you. And I love the fact that I've made these friends and stuff like that along the way. I can actually say friends and not just acquaintances along the way. So I
It
think
social media puts on a costume where it's very, very hard to tell if someone actually cares about the you or if they just care about something that they can get from you. Do you need to
yeah.
you want to pause? I can pause.
I just dropped my Coke onto my hat. It's fine.
Okay. It's
Um
not carpet at least. Jesus Christ. You ever try to
yeah.
get wine out of a carpet? Try getting Diet Coke out of a carpet. It just bleaches the shit. It burns a hole in the ground.
My God, I just can't believe I dropped it. But no, it goes beyond social media too. I mean, social media has definitely made this whole wanting to stay in contact with people thing worse. But imagine what life was before social media, where all we had were the ability to write letters, send emails, even pick up a phone for God's sakes and call somebody. I mean, now I don't even like to talk on the phone with anybody. And it's not that I don't want to talk to them and I don't like them. It's just I don't like talking on the phone. But I mean, back then we had a harder time maintaining those relationships. And now we have this easy built platform for us to do it, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or stuff like that. But the problem with those is that there's so many other things on top of it and built into it that I think that also becomes I wish there was a way that I could just filter out everything that I didn't want to see on these social media platforms. And unfortunately, that's not the case. If I
Only
could
tits
filter
and
all,
dog pics.
that's my life right there. If I could have just those things on there and some close friends, I'd be happy.
See like a vacation picture, then you see tits and then dog pics and then another vacation picture. Um, I trying to let's take it back even farther than that to
Okay.
like the age of caveman. Like how many people were doing things with the initial intent that they wanted to get something out of it, or how many people just did things because it was in best need for the group? There's tribal mindset that happens today, and then there's positive tribal mindset that happened back in the day. There was a way of everyone surviving together and everyone agreeing that we have to eat to survive. Now it's
Mm-hmm.
gotten to we need to fit these narratives or we can't be friends. And it's like, that's necessarily not true. It's like why I dive into the political stuff as much as possible, because I think it's all bullshit. I think the fact that we're relying in one giant thing to tell us what to do or what our answers are, we search fucking letter networks to be able to find what information is going to choose our day or what we're going to think about, is fucking crazy. And I love it so much. I've been talking about this more and more, and I think you'll get the reference. I'm having more of a Dr. Manhattan mindset where I'm literally thinking about like how he thought when people were like, but we're your family. He goes, I don't have any need for that now. And then he just floats off and you realize, oh shit, like his ending of his street has now became the ending of the block. Now the ending of the block is now the ending of the city. Now the ending of the city is now the ending of the state. Now the ending of the state is now the end of the country, the end of the, then it just keeps going. The goalpost has moved to where now he doesn't see the limit or doesn't see the bar like the Watchmen in the What If series, where he's able to look in all these universes. All that fucking power, your view starts to change. You don't care about essentially one thing. You essentially understand that there's more than just one of that. There's many more. And I've started to look at that a little bit differently with like perspectives and opinions and stuff. It's like you can be so confined to what you believe in. And I get triggered on some things, sure. Um, but I also think that like necessarily just because I don't agree with that person doesn't mean that I can't still associate, or, it's just about having that wantingness too. And I think we all get that way. I think people really try their hardest to find people that fit their narratives. Like it would be good for you to fit in a group with movie podcasters, but you don't seclude yourself just to movie podcasts. And that's what some people do. It's why I won't be part of the network. It's why I won't do any of that type of stuff, because I don't have the fucking time to deal with other people's shit. I really don't. I'm not selfish. I just don't. I barely have time for my shit. So I'm like,
Ain't that the truth?
I'm more about just creating and then, sharing and all that stuff. I just can't spend the time on social media. And it's easy to fall into those, groups or these types of mindset thinkings. But back in the day, we just did it to survive. Now people relate the survival to whatever gets them ahead or whatever's going to get them money or whatever's going to get them fame or whatever's going to get them to be remembered. Man, being remembered in the aspect of a show. Do people, if they took a clone of your show and they created them, would your parents be able to recognize that version of you?
I would like to say the answer is yes, because I would like to say there's not too much of a difference between who I am on the show and who I am in real life. But I mean, I do put on a bit of a, I guess, performance per se when I do my show. So yeah, I guess it would be slightly different, but I think they would be able to recognize me. I hope so.
So when I talk about shitting on my show, I should be keeping that down low and hyping it up. No, I'm just kidding. I just think a lot of people necessarily are someone that they seem one way and they're not. It's like meeting famous people. I think Ron White has a great story about a comedian that he met. And he was opening for the comedian. He was like, oh my God, it's so nice to meet you. The guy turned to his manager and said, how long is this guy going to be here? And he was like, oh, I got you. And he fucking walked out like the door, like, I'm not going to deal with you anymore. Dude was an asshole. Dude ended up being depressed and he ended up killing himself. But when you look at the aspect of like, there's a lot of people that necessarily you don't want to meet. There's heroes of yours that you don't want to meet. And I don't think you should be I think you should understand is that necessarily the person that you think you like might not actually be the person that you do like, because all you know them from is a fucking show. And I think it should cause you to go deeper in with people. It should have these types of conversations where you can have a deep chat. Like for me, I'm not thinking that, someone's going to listen to this. It just doesn't matter to me. I'm more about getting your thoughts on some things, even though we know it's recording. It's hard to put that down, but truly understanding or truly caring about like what other person's feelings, like in the moments that they're in. I gave you your space because I felt like you needed it. Mostly because you have two kids. It's so hard to even extend yourself to do a podcast episode, let alone keep up with contact with every single person that you meet from it. And that just it's hard and difficult because this, especially something like this, is all about communication. It's all about trying to find ways to connect and network and grow the show and do all these types of things, where I start wondering is like, am I going to let that take away my own happiness? And I don't think I'm willing to let that happen. Whatever happiness I still got left, I'm not letting that demon door go down. So I took my social media break, and it's been like that probably for the past couple months. I got into painting. Got over
I
that
saw that.
shit once I ran out of canvases. Fuck that. Too much money. But I literally just trying to see what else I feel like would really spark me up and get me interested. I talked to Mark recently, and we talked for like 2.5 hours. And he was like asking me about these one things. He's like, your face lights up every time I bring it up. I was like, because I've never made a fucking film before, and I know it's gonna be fucking great. Like, I know it's not gonna be an Academy Award thing, but it's a good premise. It's basically putting my thoughts into a film, and then you wonder, oh shit, like, hey, that's a Robbie film. That's what I like. That you can never say I'm
Yeah.
a good person or a bad person, but I'm Robbie. Take me how I
Mhm.
come. And I think that's what we should all aspire to be. You spend too much time trying to be somebody that who you might necessarily not, I guess, be, all because you might worry about how people might react to you. And I think people who react to you in such a way, they don't have to deal with you, but you should develop the people who do appreciate who you are. And I fucking appreciate you, Mr. Chuck Norris.
Well, thank you, sir, and I appreciate you.
But
And
you're
you,
wearing a fucking Hard Rock shirt. What the fuck is that shit?
I'm wearing my Hard Rock shirt from St. Martin.
They had
Um,
one there.
yeah.
I'll have only been to the one in Vegas, so I don't know.
Yeah, every time I go to a new Hard Rock, I have to buy like a shirt or something from there
When did
because
that start?
um I've been doing that for years. Um, you hit a lot of great points there. I have no delusions whatsoever that I'm trying to do anything with the show, like become famous from it, or make it one of the most popular movie podcasts out there. I know you and I have talked about this before. I record because I just love talking about movies. And it just came to this point where, like, why not just record myself talking about it with other people and sharing those thoughts? So if I get one download or I get hundreds of downloads, I already achieved my goal by recording the conversation. I'm just having the conversation like I would if you and I were on the phone or face to face, which hopefully we will be able to do someday, not via phone, but like actual in person face to face. It just taking that conversation to a different level. And so I'm not trying to make money off of this. I'm not trying to be remembered for this. In fact, if somebody even mentions this podcast at my funeral, I'm probably going to wake up from the dead and slap them. That's not what I want to be remembered for. This is a fun part of my life, but not part of my legacy as far as I'm concerned. This is never meant to have been something that has to propel me into fame or infamy or whatever you want to say. That I want to be remembered for so much more than this. But saying that, I love doing this. I love getting, sometimes I have those days where, like, do I really want to sit down in front of this microphone and do this? But as soon as I hit that record button, like, an energy flows through me and I'm happy because I get to do the one thing that I enjoy doing. And I love talking about movies. Whether you agree with my opinion about this movie or not, I'm going to share it, and that's the point of the conversation. And I think you understand that too with the conversations that you have. We all come from different backgrounds. We all come from different beliefs and walks of life and things like that. So we're all going to have different opinions about no matter what the subject is, and we can have that fun, insightful back and forth conversation and never once feel judgment from it or feel like that we are saying the wrong thing or do have the wrong ideas. It's just good, wholesome, not wholesome, but good conversation that sparks what I would hope to be good friendships and further conversations down the road.
I think, yeah, the one thing I could always see that people could always just not really argue about openly was just about talking about things that they really appreciate or enjoy, like a passion. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of how the show first starts when you're first on, then it kind of evolves from there. It's just because I think when you can truly be open about a topic that makes your eyes light up in something like that, and nobody dismisses your valid points on that, but it's just we're in a weird fucking time, man. I don't know. It's very strange. You got UFOs and shit going on, and I'm like, what the fuck's happening? Like, is this all real? Like, is this Mars attack style
Yeah,
shit?
we are living in such a weird time right now. So many, like you said, never once did I ever think that we would be talking about declassified documents when it comes to aliens or UFOs and uh, interesting court cases happening in our judicial system right now. A political atmosphere that I honestly didn't think it was going to get a lot more turbulent than the Trump days, but it seems like it's gotten a little more turbulent since the Trump days. You know, it's a very interesting time we live in now, and I think it's important that things like this happen. And that is one of the wonderful things about your show, is that you invite so many people on from so many different backgrounds, so many different understandings and
What's
things
with the
like that.
compliments, bro? Chill on that
Yeah,
shit.
I'm
I'm getting
throwing them out
slimy.
there.
I'm
I'm
getting
throwing them. I'm throwing them.
getting slimy.
Um, but you know, and I love that because it's a judgment free zone. People come out here and talk about the different things that they're passionate about with you, and you engage in that conversation. And sometimes you may have a different viewpoint than they do, but it's good debate. It's never like one-sided or you're wrong or anything like that. And I feel like that's what's wrong with conversation. Most conversations today is that one of the parties involved in that conversation truly believes that they are right and everybody else is wrong. And so, therefore, it's a confrontational thing. It's so scary to open your mouth in a conversation these days because you're afraid you're going to offend somebody. You're afraid you're going to say the wrong thing, and a debate's going to turn into an argument. HR is going to get called on something you mentioned at work or anything like that. I mean, these are legit fears now. And I've seen these fears come to life. I've seen people at work say the wrong thing. All of a sudden, they're being called up to HR. You know, we're not allowed to talk about. You know, we got to be careful about what you talk about in front of anybody, um, out of fear of retribution. You know.
I think the sense of empathy, or when you can really sense if a person means what they say or feels how you think that they feel, is just gone. And I think that got lost with just the device, I guess the devicing. With phones, it's very hard to convey emotion or what the person's tone is. And I think that relates to Twitter. Twitter is like a place for like people putting up their thoughts. Like I see one person tweet 10 times in an hour. I'm like, these are thoughts that are going up there. They're not fucking like actual thorough jokes that I try and produce up there. I'm like, hey man, let me toss this joke up here, and it gets one like, and I'm like, fuck. Um, but it's a strange fucking time, dude. Actually, I thought of a good thing. If you had to pick something that you want to work on or you want to do, what would it be? Like one thing you haven't done.
One thing I've never done.
I'm not saying climb Mount Everest because that's a dumb fucking response, but I'm saying like something that a goal, your next goal. What's your next goal that you're going to work towards?
um,
I'm taking meth at 1,000 episodes.
meth. Okay.
I gotta find the journey, man. Is that my path? Is it a meth path?
Um,
I've heard great
honestly,
results.
aside from my health journey that I'm still continuing on, trying to find my healthier self, um, my next goal in life is related to what I do for a living. So you know, this last year I got my captain's license. I drive a boat for a living, but now I want to move on. I want to move on and up. So more licensing, more certifications, moving on to bigger boats, different types of boats, and things like that. I know a lot of people would probably find that boring. I've always been fascinated by that. So, you know, so like the next logical step for me is learning how to drive tugboats and barges and things like that. And I mean, I even went as far as saying, hell, I want to train to drive a cruise ship. I don't want to drive a cruise ship. I don't. But, you know, I think that's I know you said it's something I've never done before, but quite honestly, I mean, that's something I've never done before. Is to push myself further and further in my job. I've always gotten into a job and fell into a rut and stopped pushing myself. So now I actually found the job where I want to continue to push myself to grow and learn more and be better. And I'm happy with that idea.
It's just interesting that you notice the things that you want to work on in your own life instead of getting like I got sucked into the podcast. If you took every single one of my episodes, the hour or 2 hours that I talk to people for the past 1,000 or so, that's like a full year of just talking.
Hmm.
Where I started to go like, what could I have done with that? Where I'm starting to notice now, I'm like, is you gonna let it consume your whole life, or are you gonna work on personal goals or next steps and things? And it's interesting how you have that perspective of like you want to start working to drive a tugboat or drive something else, or just be able to, is it drive on a boat? That doesn't sound right. Sail,
We call it driving. You really,
captain, captaining,
yeah. I mean, it's technically
schooner.
driving because I only drive motor vessels. I'm not trained or certified to sail a boat. Technically, uh, I work on motor vessels. They have engines. I drive them. It's on the water, but I drive them.
But I think it's just interesting you have that perspective because you also notice the things that can also benefit your life in such a way that it's not just the podcast, it's other things as well too. We bring it back to spreading yourself thin. You can spread yourself thin over messages, but you can also spread yourself thin in life, extending yourself or sending parts of yourself to things that you might be missing. For instance, things you spend too much time doing podcasting, spend too much time doing something else. You might miss sometimes with your kids,
Mm-hmm.
some crucial aspects of things too. I've seen pictures that you put up with your kids and stuff like that, like the amazing moments and stuff of that sort. I'm like, that's someone who's recognizing the moments in front of them rather than spending most of their time being on Facebook or Instagram or some other social media thing. Being actually there, having the fun, having the time that they're going to remember. It's stuff that you look back on. It's a little bit different. I'm hoping to the love of God that people aren't going to be like, why are my 30s and 20s gone? It's like, well, you spent most of your time on fucking your phone or you've lost it. Like I see it everywhere. All my friends that go out to like eat or drink or do whatever, I could literally, it's like I'm fucking there in virtual reality because I'm just looking at every Snapchat they put up and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I can see every single second you were there, like a fucking movie. It's great if someone decides to go on a killing spree and you could just, I got every second of it. But it's fucking horrible if you're really like, I thought about it the other day, like for a celebration, I haven't eaten out in a long fucking time, like probably 7, 8 years or so. That yeah, I would say that since the fitness journey kind of, well, it's almost 10 years, but I think I went out to eat my second year. I don't know. But I drove by an Outback and I was like, I haven't had fucking a burger in like a 10 years easy. And I was like, that'd be nice to get a fucking cheeseburger, even if it's just a plain cheeseburger, get a little bit of French fries, just something for a special treat for 1,000. I'm probably gonna do that. And I'm just like, what moments am I missing by
Hmm.
just not consuming the best aspects of life? I don't know. But I start to understand more that was much as you can think that what you're doing is everything and every problem is everything, necessarily it's pretty minuscule in the grand aspect of how much time you really have. Like 90 years might seem like a long time. It's not really a long time, but it's also your whole time. So to you, it's everything. And I think when you can truly examine things on a larger scale than just what yourself is to the grand scheme of just the world, and it does suck sometimes going out to the world. People can be assholes sometimes, but there's beauties. There's so much beautiful shit about it. Like going out to eat. Like I'm already craving a burger. It's around lunchtime when we're recording.
I know a burger does actually sound really good right now.
A nice blooming onion too with some cheese. You don't like blooming
Ooh,
onion, do you?
I do. I love
Okay.
blooming onion. It's one of my favorite things to get at
It's
Outback.
a weird fruit.
No, but I mean, you're absolutely right. And I've tried to become so much more aware of those moments and stuff like that. So, like when it comes to the podcast, I try to make sure I schedule recording times when, like, the kids are at school, um, or when I know I can step away and I'm not going to be missing anything like completely crazy. Like if I do an evening recording, I usually plan around the time the kids are doing homework or things like that, or after they even go to sleep because I don't want to miss out on those things. I'm starting to learn the value of being able to appreciate life a lot more, um, the smaller things in life. The couple months ago, was it? Yeah, it was October, so not even a couple months ago, about a month ago. I drove up to Raleigh, which is 2.5 hours away. I have a friend who lives there. We went to a concert. I hadn't been to a concert in years. I can't. Last time I went to a concert was when I lived in San Diego, so that was over almost a decade ago, and it was a blast. I had so much fun. It's like, why did I stop going to concerts? Why did I go out and why did I stop living life? Uh, Life doesn't stop just because you're getting older. Life doesn't stop because you have a career, you have kids, wife, family, anything like that. You got to make time for these fun things, and that's something my wife and I are also learning from a marriage perspective. We've got busy careers, the kids and everything like that. We've got to make time for us too. Go out, have some fun, go out on a date, go have a bloomin' onion. She loves bloomin' onions too. Um, you know, do little things like that. It's not you got to be able to prioritize and compartmentalize everything to but in a healthy way. I still want to do this podcast. I still want to have conversations with you and other people and things like that, but I've also got to realize there's other things I can be doing and as well. So it's just finding balance. That's the word I've been looking for. Balance this whole
Did
time.
you dye your hair?
No,
Is it just getting white on me?
it is getting gray. It has gotten a lot more gray this last year.
I'm following your footsteps. I'm getting some grays in there too. My
I
grandma
joked
got it
with
at 26, so
Yeah, I joked with my wife that I was going to dye it black or like dark brown, and she's like, "Don't you dare!" She likes the gray.
the gray looks nice. It's like you look like the guy from Invincible, the father.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
You just need a mustache.
No,
No?
it's either the full beard or nothing.
Okay. Captain, my captain. Um, uh yeah, I've noticed like you start to realize like I remember I mean just recently I think I noticed that gas was 3 something. I was like, fuck, when did this happen? They're like, it's been like this for a while now. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God. I was like, because I don't go anywhere. So it's
Mhm.
like I'm just going to work, which is like not even like 5 minutes, 10 minutes away, and then back. So full tank lasts you like at least close to I think I almost made it last like 3-4 weeks.
Mhm.
But that's a
I
fucking
remember
time
those
skip.
days. I remember those days when I lived up in Virginia. My work was literally 5 minutes down the road. So unless I decided to drive somewhere else, I was hardly ever filling up the gas tank. But I noticed those gas prices this last week driving between North Carolina and Florida. My God,
Jesus.
it was awful.
They closed south of the border.
For renovations, I drove
Oh
by it the other
shit, no
night.
way. I hit a
Yeah,
clickbait article. That's bullshit.
when we drove by it the other night. It was still parts of it are still open, but yeah, they're renovating south of the border. I was like, if they close south of the border, that's such an iconic thing on I-95. I've never actually stopped there, but I mean, I would actually be disappointed if it was just not there anymore or
Wait,
closed down.
so you were telling me Trump when you saying building a wall at the border, he just meant the south of the border was going through renovations?
Yep, that's what the money was being funneled to.
God damn it. It's actually cool though, because at least we knew where that money went. There's so much money that's just gone fucking missing. And I swear, I'm bringing it back. The trafficking shit. I've never seen more advertisements for trafficking. It's like you would see like a weight loss commercial. It just replaced it. Now it's about I mean, is it? Oh God. I don't know. I don't know where the
I
society's leading to.
I've noticed those ads and like billboards and stuff like that in a lot more touristy areas. So like when we were in Orlando and things like that, I noticed a lot more sex trafficking awareness ads and stuff on interstates. They're very prevalent along interstates as well. Um, I don't know if it's the times we're living in. I mean, sex trafficking is a real unfortunate thing, and it happens in a lot of areas. There's a park here where I live where police actually warn you not to take your kids to because of how many known snatches and stuff like that have happened where kids are just snatched up and they're gone.
How much do you get paid for a small child?
I don't I don't even want to know.
It's like when you find out how much your organs get on the black market. Your
Yeah.
kidneys are like 6,000 a piece. Your eyes are like 30 grand. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like if you ever go into debt or like want to pay off your college loans, you just fucking sell your femur,
You
bank.
know what? There was a time where money was so tight where I mean, never seriously thought about it, but the thought did cross my mind. It's like, how much can I get for my kidney? I only need one, you know?
Exactly.
Uh but as far as a as far as the sex trafficking, it's gotten all these ads and all this awareness is, as a parent, has you I wonder if the adverse effects of this as well, like it has you more on guard. Like, when we're out in public and stuff like that, I have the firmest grip on my kids' hands. Like, I kind of feel sorry for them. Like, am I hurting their hands?
Yeah.
Because I don't want somebody just trying to come up and snatch, my child. I mean, and I'd like to think I'd be like Liam Neeson on this thing and taken, like, I'm gonna find you and I will hunt you down.
Or
I'm
it's
gonna
like that
fuck
show
you up.
48 Hours where they say, oh, after 48 hours, there's no point in looking. You should just be looking for a body. I was like,
Yeah, it's like
holy shit.
that's scary as shit.
I saw the movie Zodiac recently. I guess the one with Robert Downey Jr. that everyone's like, that's been
Mm-hmm.
out for years. I was like, well, I first fucking saw it. Bruh, it's just so different. Like, people don't, like, we'll bring it back to the mental health thing. People don't talk about that shit. Like, men are more likely to die from suicide. Men are more likely to die or go to war. Men are more likely to be depressed and not talk about it. It's all men. The Zodiac killer did it differently. That's how he was remembered. He killed women and he left the men as a survivor. Fucking think that shit through.
It's crazy.
And then people were crazy enough to be like, I'm the Zodiac killer. Like, how'd you kill your victims? With a hammer. He's like, they didn't kill with a hammer. And people were trying to adopt that thing because they wanted the fame from it. And I'm like, where in a fucking, there are some people you should probably verify. Like, OJ's not verified on Twitter because you would think that verification on Twitter, the check mark, it's like
Mm-hmm.
validation from people. It's just to say who you are. Like, you are this person that you say you are. Yeah, but only if they agree with you what you say. Like, they can take it away from you at any moment. So like OJ doesn't have a verification mark because nobody believes he didn't do it.
And to get verified is so ridiculous. Is like, not only do you have to prove that you're you have to have a certain amount of followers and all this other stuff. I think it's just bullshit.
Well, it's like if you say anything that they don't agree politically, they'll just take away your check mark. I'm like, I don't think that's how it works, man.
It's not supposed to be how it works. It's kind of like Trump being banned from Twitter. A lot of people were very thankful that Twitter shut him up and stuff like that. I'm not a fan of Trump. Okay, I'm not trying to be political right now. I'm not a fan of him, but I truly believe it was wrong what Twitter did. You don't. I don't think you should have the right to. I mean, well, I guess Twitter does have the right to do it, but I really don't think you should be able to censor or shut anybody up, or just because you agree with them, disagree with them, or anything like that. Now you're going to treat them differently. That's not how the world should work.
Well, they have so much power, and it's not their fault for having so much power. We just kind of make new rules for them. But at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
we shouldn't have gave them that much power as people. People
Sure,
look to like Twitter, Reddit, TikTok for like news, and it's
it's
fucking
sad.
creepy.
It's sad. It's absolutely sad that it's come to that. In fact, if there was one social media that today, if I were to end this conversation right now and stop one of my social medias, Twitter would be the first to go. I absolutely despise it. And to this day, I still don't understand why I started one, but I
I
find myself on there
it just
still.
it's these algorithms are incentivizing like crazy shit. Like I had a space that was recommended on my Twitter where I couldn't get it out of there because no one I followed was involved with it. It was just a recommended space, so it just sits there until the space is done. And it was like people are born racist or end white supremacy, and I'm like all over the Rittenhouse thing, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I joined. It's a bunch of people saying white people just need to die. I'm like, oh my god. Like, thank God it's just my profile picture is my podcast logo, or like, but it's like they're, I mean, they have their own reality that they're in. I necessarily just don't think everyone's getting all the facts to them. And then I also don't understand that what do we call fact? Like the idea of being normal, like as you would describe yourself, like he's a kind of normal guy. It's like, what the fuck's normal? There
Yeah,
is
what's
no
normal
normal. Normal's what we all agree on.
and what is fact?
All
Fact is
agree
something
on.
that you can prove, right?
The earth is flat.
Not a fact.
To my buddy, it is.
Well, then, damn, he's going to be really upset when he realizes he's breathing from the atmosphere.
Sphere. Um, words don't mean shit. But like we're in a crazy time. Like JFK's son was rumored to come back and
Oh my
run.
God, I
I
saw
was
those
like, what the fuck
videos.
is he's? I thought he died.
People were actually gathered expecting him to just show up, like pop up out of nowhere. And I'm like, what is happening in the world right now?
You will release my father's death articles.
But that stuff happens and is allowed and is all over social media. I talk about burning down the house because on Facebook because a spider would have showed up in the house and I'm like, oh no, I'd burn down the house. I get banned for 24 hours because I said burn down the house. and I understand that's an algorithm thing. So I got banned. It's a funny story, not funny, but a story about this. I got banned for that, for saying burn down the house for 24 hours.
Burning
There
down the
was
house. Mm.
there was somebody on a friend of mine's post who said that all military, like veterans, should just kill themselves for the things that they did or the things they contributed to. I reported that comment. I did. I was just so shocked that somebody would have the balls to say that. You can have that opinion, but why are you going to say that out loud? I reported that comment, and Facebook came back and said that he did not violate any community guidelines. Like, he literally just said people should kill themselves.
Yeah, but that algorithm is so creepy, dude. I was watching a video of a homeless man giving a guy $4 whose car broke down and he needed gas money or something. The guy comes out of his
Mm-hmm.
tent. He goes, why are you homeless, man?" He goes, "Well, I'm a veteran." And the guy goes, "Okay, well, here," gave him $4. He goes, "Oh, dude, here's 200, man. I'm not really broken down." And like that type of video that led to another one like that where the guy gave him food, then a suit, then a food truck. Then that one led into like a homeless man that's who's a veteran who's on a bus going crazy and insane, and people are like arresting him and stuff. That led to one getting shot. Then that just led down a darker fucking rabbit hole where I'm like, now I see why there's like people like you can make fun of Ted Cruz. I'll make fun of him too, but he's also one of the people that brought the guy who created TikTok into court. And there's a large push to get all these people who own social networks. There's the Mark Zuckerberg trial. There's a bunch of these things. The weird part is just they don't. I don't think they intended to lead that way. But what happens is that this algorithm thing isn't like a person that can think things through. It's just basing its decisions off of what you choose and say. So like a mini Mark Zuckerberg is an algorithm. It's technically his viewpoints into an algorithm that shows whatever, and whatever gets more clickbaits. I mean, the news does it too. They did it with the Rittenhouse thing. MSNBC said guy was shot with hands up by Kyle Rittenhouse, and the dude had a gun. They just left that detail out, like because they didn't. Their audience doesn't fit that narrative of they don't want to know that he had a gun. They want to say that it was just wrongfully all this, which makes it so fucking hard. And like you wonder why society's like on the edge. I'm like, I'm not ashamed or mad at people for staying inside their homes. Jesus Christ, it's a fucking crazy time. But I mean, it's a beautiful world. The earth is amazing, but the people in it, damn it, it's so hard to be like, "How you doing, sir?" It's like, I'm a $1 billion businessman. It's like, are you a homeless person that's crazy, or are you a billionaire that's trying to act homeless? I'm fucking confused.
Trust issues. It's no wonder that we as people have trust issues. No, the earth is a beautiful place. The people suck.
Yeah.
There are beautiful people on this earth. They're just unfortunately overshadowed by the not so beautiful people. And you're absolutely right. These news articles, they all cater to a certain narrative. There was an incident. It was at a Christmas parade where somebody drove through the parade and like injured 8 people and stuff like that. He's getting his first day in court, and they spent the entire program talking about his past, like he has a criminal record and stuff like that. A lot of the criminal record had nothing to do with this incident that happened at the parade. It's a very unfortunate and sad incident, but I'm just like, man, they are working their hardest to paint this guy as someone who needs to be like hated by all of society. He did something wrong, yes, but also I don't need to know about all that past stuff that he did that has nothing to do with the incident at hand and things like that. They're really they're slandering almost. That's what I call it. I call it slandering. Kyle Rittenhouse was also a victim of it. No matter what you want to believe,
Well, the
if
guy,
whether you believe he's innocent or not, he was being slandered.
what was sketchy was that 6 days before the actual trial, the guy who was on stand defending himself who got shot in the bicep, he
Mm-hmm.
cleared his charges of drinking and driving and all these accounts that had been pending for years that he never dealt with because the prosecution was like, you need to get these out of the way so the defense doesn't bring these up. And they fucking did. That's just to me, it's just like that. Like I just start getting to this point of like everything's kind of like you expect society to run in the way you want it to run, but you don't have a bunch of people agreeing with the way it's running. Like I don't think it's a race issue. I think it's a system issue, which is that classes, wealth class is the big thing that they're trying to distract you from. And sadly, the race narrative is the one that gets people the most pissed off. That and kids. You say anything with kids, it's fucking immediately anger, not even thought coming through. Where I'm like, Damn it, Chuck. I just, you wonder why people want to burn shit down. I fucking get it. I get it, dude.
Yep.
I get it. But there's people that are like, I don't know. You just, I think the media found a way to be profitable by getting people pissed off or upset. And I think that's gotten us to a really large loophole of the way we're acting now. And I think that the government is now passing things because they're working hand in hand with each other, distort the people, and then say that you're going to fix it by passing something, but nobody knows what the fuck you're passing. It happened with the marijuana bill. So, I mean, it's going to happen the same thing with other shit as well, too.
How do you control a population?
Making
By keeping them divided. Because
yes.
a united population is the scariest thing to any government organization. A divided population is easier to keep under control. And media is the outlet to keep America divided.
When does Jesus come back?
Not soon enough, man.
Imagine he just shows up, everyone drops their shit for 5 minutes.
Nobody would believe it. They would all think it's fake news.
That's the crazy thing, is that you could probably walk past someone. We walk past plenty of people screaming that in the middle of the street, like, I am Jesus. You're like, no, you're not, man.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. Go away.
It's so egotistical to say that you're the Jesus Christ too. Like, I think Jesus would pick a different name the second time around, don't you think?
Yeah, it would probably be something like Jesus, and he would look hipster, and he'd be carrying a Starbucks coffee.
I think you pick a better name than that. You don't go with just a different way of
Well,
saying
you
it.
got to keep some sort of sense of the
No.
biblical
It
name.
would be like Lord Farquaad or something. That's egotistical in
Run,
itself.
run as
You
fast
could
as you can.
buy land in Scotland, a small piece of land, to be called a lord.
You know what's funny is I actually joked that I was going to do that, but then I'm so glad I didn't. Because then I was going to change my name to Lord Chuck.
It was definitely interesting. It was just like, but yeah, it's so crazy though. Like, what happens to that property? It'd be cool if they were like, hey, like the money gets raised to this or saving this type of land. But like, it's like donating to a kid in Africa, or donating to a kid in like, or donating for a dolphin, or buying a dolphin, or buying a star. Do you really own it? Or are they just sending you a fucking JPEG of a picture?
Yeah, that's exactly like adopt a star and stuff like this. Like, why would I do that? What is the star going to do for me?
It's gonna
Nothing.
pick you up like one of those Magic School Bus commercials and fly you off into the.
Yeah, right. You know what good is it going to do to adopt the star? Like, am I taking care of the star? Where's that money? What is that money going to do for the star?
It's gonna go into the whoever's owning that corporation's drug habit.
Yeah, right. Pay for his hookers for the day.
I'm not mad at that. I think a cool perspective I would like to get would be like a motel in like the 70s, like one of those really shabbily run motels. I want to be like, how many politicians have you seen come in these fucking doors? He's like, too many to count. Too many to count.
Yeah. Too bad it's not like the Bates Motel and that they all get offed.
Ronald Reagan didn't go crazy from dementia. He went crazy because he fell off of a stripper pole. I'm like, really? Fucking interesting. Write that shit down. Fucking type that shit. The fucking dream perspective. Speaking of dreams, you got to give me a dream.
Dream.
I know you've had.
I have a dream.
I got Mark to say one too. I've been getting really interested into it because they always go somewhere I'm never expecting. Mark's is intense.
The last dream that I can remember, my dreams a lot lately have been about the Navy, strangely enough.
You spend all day in it. I'm not surprised you dream about the Navy.
Well, I mean, I haven't been in the Navy in almost 10 years.
Wait, so the boat shit isn't the same thing?
No, this is all private company.
It's just like when I was a kid. Whenever I associate one thing with this, so whenever I think boats, I usually think Navy.
No, it's all regulated by the Coast Guard. But no, the last couple of dreams that I've had, they've had to do with the Navy, but it's nothing weird. It's like a lot of the people that I served with that are still in and stuff like that. They've all recently become chiefs and stuff, which is a big deal for enlisted Navy. That's the jump from the E6 rate to the E7 rate, and you get to put on your anchors and stuff like that. Making chief is a very, very big deal. So, I guess I have a little bit of regret that I didn't take my time in a little bit more seriously, and I didn't stay in. to make it. But also, I'm also kind of happy where I am too. So it's just one of those weird feelings.
I had one the other night that was like red pill, blue pill dream.
Ah, Matrixy, got it.
And it was like I got infinite power like Dr. Manhattan.
Mhm.
And then I was like, protecting the world, stopping every burglary, but you never got any free time. So like you were living like, I mean, it had to be like a month at least of just saving the fucking world every minute. Like, you hear screams every time you finally get into your house. You hear a scream. You have to go get it, go save it, go save it. People would yell at you if you missed one. You always missed one. You always did. It was always like 10 or 15 or 100 you would fucking miss of a robbery or something like that. You couldn't stop them all. And then it was like I experienced all that. And then next thing I know, towards the end of the dream, it was me before I got the powers. And it was like, do you still want them? It's like, necessarily just because you have it doesn't mean you should use it. And I woke up and I was like, oh my God, I'm
That's
back to
deep.
eating beans when I dream. That's what it is. It's red kidney beans. I'm letting everyone know you want to trip your ass off, eat red kidney beans before you sleep.
That's deep. I remember when I first started to try to quit smoking, they put me on, I forget what the medication was, but one of the warnings was is that it was going to give you very like psychedelic
Night terrors.
dreams. And I do remember like waking up once and I really felt like it was so real. It was like being at a rave. It was so weird. Like it took me a while to realize I wasn't actually in this situation.
Oh, you said rave. I
It's
thought glow
kind
sticks.
no. I mean, it's just like the dream was just so bizarre and weird. It was like the dream was like being in a rave. Like there was a lot of bright colors, a lot of loud music. It was very weird.
Did the music have lyrics?
I just not remember. Maybe a rave is kind of the wrong word.
Are
What's
you
that
saying
big
rave or rape?
rave?
Oh,
RAVE.
okay. Thank you for the
No,
clarification. I was like,
not
he
the
was
other
at a
one. Not
rape.
the other.
There's a fucking show, which isn't,
No,
dude. It's
no,
it's not out of
no.
the realm of possibilities. Jesus Christ, we put surgery on display for people to fucking watch. Our entertainment values have shot to shit.
We have movies like Hostel. There's no telling what people actually watch
That's a
nowadays.
good fucking movie.
The first one is, second one and third one not so much. First one
I,
still has that shock value.
I haven't really seen anything good. I'm just hoping we're all out of the superhero kick yet. But they're like, new superhero
No,
movies coming. I'm like, let's fucking end it, please. Can we find something where we actually go back to? That's why I'm hoping this film is going to be revolutionary.
no, the superhero age is not over yet, unfortunately. But what are you gonna do?
What do you
It's
think?
making the money.
What do you think the next trend's going to be?
That one's tough. I would have said like last year or earlier this year that the next big thing was the resurgence of the horror movie. The horror genre was going to make a big comeback in the box office, but unfortunately, I don't think that's the case anymore. I honestly, the next big trend outside of superhero movies is going to be straight to streaming independent movies, which we're seeing a lot of now.
Straight to streaming independent movies?
So like movies like The Tomorrow War on Amazon that has Chris Pratt in it, that didn't get a theatrical release. That was an Amazon release. So you're going to see bigger stars moving to straight to streaming movies, and that's I know that's not really a genre of movies, but I'm going to call it a genre of movies right now. That's the next big thing. I think superhero movies is going to close out the age of the movie theater experience as we've always known it. I've had this debate with people before. I think the movie theater experience is dying. It's coming to a close. Like going to the movies to watch a movie is not going to be the common thing to do anymore. And I'm not saying that just because of the pandemic or anything like that. We've seen a decline in people wanting to go to the movies because you can rent the movie or you can watch the movie at home in a home theater setup, which is just as great, if not better, than what you would probably get at a movie theater. People go to the movie theater for the experience of seeing movies with other people. That's where the home theater experience lacks, is that you're going to miss out on that energy. You like going to see a Star Wars movie in the theater. it may be a shitty Star Wars movie, but the people is what makes the experience great. And it's kind of the same thing with superhero movies. The movie might be shitty, but seeing it with other people is going to be is what makes it really great. I think the superhero genre of movies is going to close out the traditional movie theater experience, and everything is really going to start becoming more about the streaming experience. And that's where a majority of people are going to be are going to watch their movies now. And that's what movies are going to be designed for now. It's not going to be the big explosive big screen experience. It's going to be for your small screen experience now. And the only reason I feel confident that that's the direction we're heading is stars like Leonardo DiCaprio, and as much as I don't like him, Jennifer Lawrence and stuff like that, they're making movies directly for streaming. They have a movie coming out directly for Netflix. It will be released in theaters for a little bit, but it's mainly being made for Netflix.
Well, are you in support of the company, or are you in support of the actor of this part?
I'm in
because like my favorite comedians won't do comedy specials through Netflix anymore because Netflix doesn't tell you how much or if it's good or not. Netflix just says we're doing good. They don't tell you how many people view it, which Ron White, he's quitting comedy after this year. Apparently he had an ayahuasca trip and quit drinking, but he talks about, I would do a special with Netflix again before I quit, but they don't tell you where your comedy's good at. So it would help if you knew Australia really enjoyed your comedy special, then you could go to there and make tours out there. They don't tell you that.
Gotcha.
It's because they don't have to pay you more.
I don't think my support in this idea is more for either the company or the people or like the actors or stuff like that. I think it's good. I think it could be good for both, depending.
Money? Why do you
I don't
hate money?
I don't hate money, but there's more to the world than the money.
You for the Bible? You hate money?
Netflix has a lot of problems. Them as a company, I've always been leery of them, especially these last few years. And I truly believe that they want to withhold information because that gives them the upper hand. That gives them more power. The more information they release to their content creators and stuff like that, the less power they have over the content. But then you have streaming services like Amazon and stuff like that. Amazon has been listening to their viewership and stuff like that and releasing more content that the viewers want and giving more creative control to their creators and stuff. So, but Netflix, on the other hand, is still a big attraction for some of these bigger stars. And I can't believe I'm actually going to say this name and bigger star in the same sentence. Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler had that contract with Netflix. I think he still has a contract with Netflix to make movies with them.
$500 million off of Netflix.
Right. So I mean, it depends on the deals, and it depends on who you are as a content creator, on which platform that you want to do content with. Netflix has always been the big draw, but don't discount Amazon. Don't discount Paramount or Hulu. Hulu's making some great content out there.
Hulu does not give a fuck about what they put on their fucking thing.
No, they just put anything out there.
They have Rush Hour 3 on there. And I was like, I always heard this movie was like really like woke people hate it. And I watched it. I'm like, oh shit, I can see it. I can see it all. It did not age well, I would say. I mean, it's a good film. It's
good for a laugh, but it did not age well.
It's fucking, it's societies would be like, burn it immediately. Find Chris Tucker and kill him.
Yeah. But to summarize, I do believe we are witnessing the death of the movie theater experience, and everything is going to be streaming.
It's because they took it away, and then now that it's back, a lot of people aren't really keen on going back. There are some people that really enjoy the movie experience, but that streaming thing, it just makes it too easy to access it from home, especially if you got all the Amazon, like what they sell you with home theater setups now, where you get a new TV, you get a light bar that changes colors, you light some candles, you can fucking sit in your underwear and watch The Happening.
There are other great movies out there to watch, but sure, yes, you could watch that.
That's my favorite fucking, I love M. Night Shyamalan. That movie Old was great. But
I haven't seen it. I thought about watching it the other day, and I decided to watch The Forever Purge instead. Which actually wasn't that bad of a movie, to be honest.
I mean, by the fourth time, you have to get it right?
Well, I like this one because it's a slightly different concept. It's not just the purge over and over and over again. It's the purge, but then like people decided to keep it going outside the 24-hour window, and so people are so it's the world trying to deal with that. So it's actually kind of interesting.
It never ends. Find a lighthouse and keep yourself safe.
Yeah, there is no safety now. Everybody's gone. It's definitely driving a political agenda home, but it was an interesting concept of the movie.
I would like to see like a movie about a person that just lives in a lighthouse.
It's called The Lighthouse, and it's a very interesting movie.
Does he kill people in it?
Actually, no. Yes. No. Wait,
I
wait.
just want to see someone in a lighthouse do lighthouse shit. That's all. Like turn the fucking. He's saving
Oh, I'm
lives
sorry.
every day. He's turning
Yeah,
on that light that brings the ships home.
I was thinking of another movie. Never mind. But there is a movie called The Lighthouse, and it has Robert Pattinson and William Dafoe in it, and I have not seen it yet. I was thinking of something else. But
Shawshank Redemption.
no,
That
it
involves
doesn't
a
have a
lighthouse.
lighthouse.
Yes, it does.
Oh, well,
It's out in the distance on a cutscene that didn't make the original take.
well, then The Ring, The Ring is a lighthouse movie.
It is. I only know the Ring from Scary Movie, so my version of the Ring is the version that was put in Scary Movie 4 or 3.
Oh, you've never seen The Ring?
No,
Oh, you should. It's actually a good movie.
I don't like. I mean, I don't get scared at movies, but I also just don't. I just it's hard for me to watch a lot of things that are outside, like new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they make a Green Lantern 2, I'll be on it real quick.
And you see, I honestly think they should make a Green Lantern too.
Yes.
Not with Ryan Reynolds though.
Damn it.
There's other characters that played Green Lantern.
What did you think about Zack Snyder's?
Justice League,
Yeah.
garbage.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. It just added more shit. Like it's just like, let me turn on the Instagram shadows effect and then let me fucking make a film.
Well, what's the old saying? Just because you take a dog turd and dip it in gold doesn't make it amazing. It's still dog turd, and that's exactly what Zack Snyder's Justice League was. It's way better than Joss Whedon's Justice League, and the stuff that Zack Snyder put back in there makes the story make a lot more sense. But it's still a dog turd. It's crap.
I'm excited for you to review my film when it comes out. If you do,
I will.
it's gonna be like
We'll talk
2
about
hours.
this. 2-hour film.
Dude, I try to.
Is
I
it
got,
like a documentary style film?
I've done like. I gotta be talk. We gotta talk air about it. But I've done like so many scenes and I put a bunch of it together and it was like 5 fucking minutes. What? And then I was like losing my shit. But then I figured it out and I got it. Everybody plays a role. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
There you go.
But I'm excited to talk about it. So, Chuck, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me anywhere that you get your podcast from. It's Chuck and Ruff Go to the Movies. We are two brothers who talk about the movies that we love, and then we talk with other people who love them as well. We have an episode coming out next week on Battleship. A lot of fun. We had a great time talking about that movie.
Wait, not Willie Nelson. Who is it? Fucking. Don't tell me. Oh God, he was just in the new Venom. Oh, he was in Zombieland. Oh, he was in Kingpins. Woody Harrelson.
He's not in Battleship.
Oh, he's in 1812, isn't he?
I don't know. Is he?
1917. Some type of ship movie he's in.
Well, he's not in this movie. Liam Neeson's in this movie.
On Battleship?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen it. I think I saw Men Who Stare at Goats.
Rihanna's in this movie.
Rihanna?
Yeah.
I love fucking Rihanna, man. She's awesome.
She is fun. She's a lot of fun to watch. She's one of my favorite things about the Ocean's 8 movie.
I saw a video, a TikTok thing of a girl walking on a runway and like flipped her hair and Rihanna flicked her off. And I was like, I like that.
That's funny.
I like that.
But yes, that's where you can find us on any of our major platforms. You can follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, and for now, Twitter. I'm still debating on whether or not to delete that. But yeah, we are out there and we try to release the show every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. All right. Well, is there anything you want to let the people know out there before we hit the end button?
Don't believe everything you read on the internet.
It's a smart. I wish someone would have told me that in middle school. Jesus.